Kirby, what was your motivation in taking this position given all the criticism that comes with it?
Well, I believe college football is one of our country's greatest games. I think the passion, uh, the emotion that the fan base, that our society places in this game is special. So, I choose positive. I choose the opportunity to be involved and to give back to a game that has been so important in my life and continues to be important in my life. So to be able to serve in this role with an event that has quickly become one of the nation's most popular sporting events, I look at as an honor and privilege.
We assume you'll be the speaking as frequently weekly like Jeff Long did regarding the rankings on ESPN.
I think that's a fair assumption, Don. The CFP has done a great job with the committee members, and the two individuals that speak on behalf of the committee is the chairperson as well as Bill Hancock, the executive director. So I wouldn't anticipate changes to the policies or protocol as we move forward into next year.
What was the process by which you obtained the job? Was there a at any point was there a roundtable discussion on who had interest, or were you just appointed, or how did you actually get this position?
I'm really not sure. It's an appointment that is made by the management committee of the CFP, which is comprised of the 10 commissioners and the athletics director from Notre Dame. So you'd probably have to ask them what their selection process and protocol was. I just know that it's a big job and one that I'm flattered and honored to have, and look forward to serving in this role over the course of the next year.
Kirby, could you let us know what it's like to be on the committee and how much work goes into this on a weekly basis? How much give and take debate goes on in selecting these teams?
Well, it's a big job, and I think a tremendous honor to be one of the committee members. Really thoroughly enjoyed the people and the process being a member of the committee this year. So impressed with the careful deliberations, the consideration, the thoughtfulness, the professionalism that's inside that room each and every week during the college football season that we meet. So really impressed with the integrity of the process, with the careful thought and preparation that each committee member brings. So something that I'm proud to be a part of, and something that I think has shown that it works in its first 2 years.
How important is it to have a even demeanor? Each week you're under such a microscope. I mean, how important is it to stay calm and cool and address things the right way?
Well, I think that's always important, and I thought Jeff Long did an exceptional job in his 2 years of service in the chair for the CFP. So, again, I'm one of 13 members of the College Football Playoff Selection Committee. I have the role now moving forward to serve as the official spokesperson of that committee, and will do my very best, just as Jeff did the last 2 years, to be able to represent the view of that committee on a weekly basis.
Kirby, how are you today?
I'm good.
Just to clarify, through that selection process, you said it wasn't necessarily a situation where you tossed your hat in the ring. They kind of came forward to you, and they had potential candidates out of the already existing group.
I believe both Jeff Long, the previous chair, and the management committee thought that the 2-year rotation for the chairmanship position was appropriate. And I believe they thought that, based upon that decision of a 2-year rotation, that it was necessary to select the next chair. I think that, anybody around that table could sit in the chair position, and the management committee selected me. For what reasons, I don't know, but I do know that they were meeting in Phoenix around the national championship game. Talked to Bill Hancock that afternoon, and he asked, is it something that I would consider? And then the process accelerated a lot faster than I had thought it would, to receive a call Thursday and saying that we'd like to formalize this and publicly announce it at 3 o'clock Thursday afternoon.
Just being the new kid on the block, did it surprise you just after your first year that you were already going to be appointed to this type of position?
Well, new kid on the block. It's relatively a new group, right? We've been together for 2 years, and I've been a part of the group for one football season. So, great committee, great process. I think it's an honor to have been selected as its chair, and look forward to representing the group.
Kirby, looking forward, you're in the Big 12. You're the AD here at Texas Tech. Any issues with reconciling all those roles as you sit as the chairman of that committee?
Well, Betsy, I don't believe so. It's an important role. Obviously, my job is the athletics director at Texas Tech. It's an opportunity that I visited with both the president and the chancellor about here. I've got a great team. All of you know that you're only going to be as strong as those individuals that you have around you. I've got a great team of administrators and coaches here, and I felt like the first year on the selection committee went really well. I don't think we missed a beat, and we kept all the balls moving forward when I was out of town this week with the commitment.
Kirby, what does just your normal Saturday look like now? Is more tasks that you are involved just in a normal Saturday? What does just a normal Saturday look like now in this position?
Well, I would not anticipate my weekends next year looking much different than they did this year. Obviously, I was with our football team each and every Saturday. Would commit my time on Saturday evening, Saturday night late, all day Sunday, watching games from around the country. I believe I averaged 20 football games a week and watching. The CFP's done an incredible job of giving us all the data, all the metric points, all the statistics, all the game film, the live games that we could possibly ever ask for. So they provide the data for you. So it's a time commitment, but one that I thoroughly enjoyed. And I think my time commitment with the chair and the additional work there will come on Tuesdays. With staying in Dallas later, handling all the media requests, the media duties, and maybe even having to travel to Dallas on occasion earlier for preparation.
After taking part in it for a year, how do you feel like the process worked when all of y'all were in the room, and will you have any recommendations about making any sort of changes to how y'all go about doing your business?
I personally don't believe that the policies or the protocol need to change. I think the protocol that has been established and followed for the first 2 years has proven to work exceptionally well for the selection committee. So personally, I don't anticipate any changes to policies or protocol for the selection committee.
It's been a lot of conversation about the number of teams involved in the playoff. Do you have a thought on whether it should be 4 or should be 8 or should be a different number?
Well, I would say this. I would defer that question to the management committee and Bill Hancock. I stay focused on the selection committee's role, and that is to rank the top 25 teams in the country, assign them to the respected bowl games that are designated to us, and that's plenty of work for us. I assure you that on a weekly basis.
Will the Big 12 have a championship game soon?
Take my CFP hat off and put my Texas Tech athletics director cap on. I was excited this week to see that the rule amendment passed to allow conferences to have a championship game with less than 12 teams, given the fact that you play a round-robin schedule. It's another piece to the future for the Big 12 to discuss, and one that I think in February and March, when we are together as athletics directors and presidents, that we'll spend considerable time talking about. So I thought very excited that legislation was passed. That option is on the table for us to discuss.
After being in the room, how important is that 13th game?
Well, again, I believe it's a 13th opponent. It's a game against a quality opponent. It's another opportunity for the selection committee to watch what you play. So I think it's something that needs very careful discussion and needs to be looked at in depth, but at the same time, that's something that we'll be getting to in the coming weeks and months ahead as a Big 12 conference.
The last week when Oklahoma went from number 3 to number 4, there were a couple of schools of thought expressed. One was that Oklahoma was hurt by not being in a championship game, and the other was that Oklahoma might have slid to 4 so that it did not have a quasi-home field advantage at the Cotton Bowl. What was the reason?
Oh, I think Jeff Long, as our chairperson, explained and did the best he could to explain what those discussions and decisions were in our room those last couple of weeks leading to the final rankings, and would probably leave it at that, Don, and not go back and recount what's already been said by our chairperson last year about the final rankings.
Kirby, Jerry Hill, Baylor Bear Insider. You talked about the rotation of 2 years for the chairman. Has there been any discussion about the rotation of committee members and how that group might change?
Well, Jerry, everybody has term. What's the word I'm searching for? Everybody has a term appointment to serve. And I think has been publicly known there are 4 positions that will come on board this year. The term limits for Mike Tranghese, Coach Tom Osborne have expired, as well as General Mike Gould, and then Pat Hayden, the representative from the Pac, stepped away last year. So those are 4 new positions, replacement positions on the CFP selection committee that I know they're in the process of discussing, and as Bill Hancock has said, I anticipate those being filled by the end of this month.
Kirby, just curious, how much have you picked Jeff Long's brain, having been the only guy who's been the chair so far, once you were put in this position?
Well, Jeff obviously called and congratulated me on Thursday when this was announced. Jeff is one of my closest colleagues in this profession, and somebody that I trust and I know that I could lean on whenever I need to. Again, we watch Jeff each and every week. We were with him 2 or 3 days a week over the course of 2.5 months during the football season. So watch Jeff very carefully, know he'll be there for me to lean on when and if I do over the course of the next year or two.
Kirby, is the chairmanship going to be a rotating 2-year position? And for the committee members, is there any term set now that they serve?
Each committee member has a term that they are serving currently. I believe that the chair has anticipated a 2-year rotation. I haven't really given that a lot of thought. I know I'm serving as the chairman this year. Perhaps 2 years, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But I do think they've said the chairman position would be for a year or 2 appointment, and then each member of the committee does have a appointment to their term that they're serving on the selection committee.
And what is that term for those committee members?
Well, I think going forward, you hope that it's a 3-year appointment, but you had to stagger them at the beginning because it was a new body. So some individuals had 2-year term appointments and some had 4-year term appointments. Others had 3. I would anticipate as the committee moves forward, the term appointments will all be for 3 years. So you'll have a rotation annually of new people coming on, and the maximum moving forward that on average that somebody would serve would be 3 years.
And will you have a big hand in picking those replacements?
Again, that's the management committee's decision. That's the commissioners and the athletics director of Notre Dame who makes those appointments.
Anything else? Have you heard from Art Briles since you're a Texas guy?
I have not talked to Coach Briles since this happened on Thursday. No, sir.
Given maybe a little more serious question. The Big 12's been perceived to be have fallen some in stature, obviously, with the schools that it's lost. Your elevation of this position has been viewed by some people as a key moment for the Big 12 or a very good development for the Big 12. How do you see that?
Well, I see this position as the chairman of the College Football Playoff Committee. It's a national appointment. It's a national position. Again, we rank the top 25 teams in the country. We check our conference and school affiliations at the door, and we rank the top 25 best teams in the country. So, what people try to assume with the conference affiliations, I would say, is not applicable to this position. It's a national appointment and one that we take very seriously on our core focus and purpose, and that's, again, ranking the teams and assigning them to bowl games.